Yo, what's going on, people? I want to resume my story. So, if you're watching, appreciate it. If you can get through that whole video, you rock. This is just my way of, and this sounds really morbid, but if something ever happens to me, because I know people don't read books, and my writing sucks right now. My writing, let me explain this. I know how to read, I know how to write. It's just that when I got into that accident, I neglected my studies. I neglected my reading, my writing, all my literary knowledge that I had. It faded away. It diminished away from not reading. It's like when you don't work out, you go to jail. Like when Mike Tyson was in his prime, and he got locked up, he couldn't work out like he once did when he was locked up. He couldn't go to the gym and box and spar with people. He did, I believe, 1,000 sit-ups a day, 1,000 push-ups a day to stay in shape, but he couldn't train like he did in the gym. So when I got to that accident, I had became really lazy intellectually, but I'm slowly obtaining all my knowledge back. And I know I'm becoming my former self, because my videos, I'm not defending like stupidity anymore. I was sort of like, I would try to rationalize criminal behavior, and I'm slowly fading away from that. Now I know who I am. I know who I once was, and I want to gain that back. And when hopefully next year comes around, I can just forget this ever happened. But I want to talk about 2004, because I left off with my brother going to camp. And let me just tell you this. So 2004, everybody is I don't know the age. I don't know how everyone watches this video. I don't know how old you guys are, what area you grew up in. Some people I do. But if you were a kid that year, you probably witnessed the greatest movie of that year for kids. The greatest movie of that year for kids was Spider-Man 2. So every movie other than the third one, I watched with my dad, just me and my dad. We watched Spider-Man 1 together and Spider-Man 2. We saw Spider-Man 2 and we saw Spider-Man 1 probably in like the suburbs of Philadelphia. But Spider-Man 2, we caught the trolley to 69th Street, and we saw the movie there. I remember I had like nacho, like sauce on this white shirt he gave me. And whenever we were just together as a family, I liked that. I just liked it when it was just me, my dad, and my brother, because I didn't get along with his girlfriend's daughter at all. We were fighting a lot, not like physically, but I did not get along with her at all. And towards the summertime, his girlfriend's beginning to get on my fucking nerves too. So I don't really display my dislike for her, but it's slowly building up. And to this day, I hate her fucking guts. I'm not ashamed to say that. Like I said, when she dies, as fucked up as it sounds, when she dies, I'll feel a lot better where I don't gotta think about it anymore. Because when people who do bad things die, they're dealt with. I told you my story of how I died, whether you believe it or not. I know for a fact people that do fucked up shit, they get dealt with when they have their judgment day. So that's why when I read that book by Jonathan McCurdy, I read that whole book, that 356-page book. I read it in I don't know if it was that many pages, but when I read that book in literally 2 days, she was able to recover when her mom died. I mean, that's why she dated that black guy, because her mom wasn't around to disown her for doing that. I mean, she lost her virginity when she was 18 to some 32-year-old guy. But it made sense why she dated that black dude when her mom died. That made a lot of sense. But anyway, that book really helped me out. But yeah, my around 2004, and I have some pictures on this website called Flickr that I took when I was like 17 all of my pictures are at my dad's house in like a little storage bin. So I don't really have physical pictures with me. I can look around and see if I do, but I really don't. Because our video camera that we had for years, he lost it. But it didn't matter because I was taking pictures of those too, because I felt like I was getting older when I was 17. I was just taking pictures of my how I used to look when I was younger. But for illustration purposes, I may use a picture when I was younger as a thumbnail that I could find that's from that year, because it's a few I have from that year. But so me, my dad, we saw Spider-Man. Around this time, my brother is at camp. And by the way, my brother is really popular. You know, he's like popular in his class. He's popular with people in my class. I was never cool, but I wasn't getting bullied at the time. But my obsessions were primarily wrestling, cartoons, Fairly Odd Parents, SpongeBob. Rocket Power was coming to an end that year. It wasn't being shown anymore. Hey Arnold was coming to an end that year. It wasn't being shown anymore. They didn't show reruns of Cat Dog. They didn't show the Amanda Show like that. They did sometimes on Sunday. Drake and Josh was becoming a favorite show. It still is to this day. Whenever I could watch it, I still love that show. So understand, when I didn't have cable, when my mom couldn't pay the bill sometimes, I didn't know the first season was when Josh was his hair was like a little shorter. He had like a lot more hair the second season. I didn't know it was a difference between the first and the second season. But Drake and Josh was a favorite show of mine. And around the age of 9, like I said, there are shows I'm beginning to watch now that weren't that I wasn't watching before. Drake and Josh. This show called Unfabulous came out. I really didn't like that show. Oh yeah, the Romeo show came out the fall of 2003, but it was showing all of 2004. I loved the first season, but I didn't really like the second season because it felt too much for like teenagers, people in high school. I felt that the first season catered more to kids. That's why I watched the first season. But the second one, if any show felt too like preteenish or teenish, like high schoolish, I wouldn't watch it. Some other shows I could think of. Unfabulous, didn't watch that. The Brothers Garcia ended. Weird enough, even though that show was sort of for teens, it was on Teen Nick, I love that show. You know, because understand, this was the one show where you did have like you had shows that had all black casts, but everybody was black like me, where they weren't mixed raced or they weren't like a homosexual to star in the show. It was just like this show, Brothers Garcia. They were just a regular Hispanic family. Now, some people, I looked up some of the cast members. Some were Mexican, some were Cuban, some were from Venezuela. Like the father was Cuban, the mom was Mexican. The son Larry, he was probably Mexican because he was from Texas. On his in real life, he was from Texas. But the whole cast, they didn't have to find like half white, half Hispanic people. Because what I noticed Nickelodeon was doing, they were like, whenever they had a Hispanic person on a show, they would always have to be like mixed race, and they represented an Hispanic person. Like, I'm kind of proceeding past the year I want to, but the show Zoe 101 is a good example. They had an Hispanic girl named Dana on the show who was Puerto Rican and I think Mexican. They replaced her with Victoria Justice, who's Puerto Rican and white. So that's supposed to represent an Hispanic girl, but she's half white. So I just don't like that concept. But my brother came back And oh yeah, by the way, so 2003, I won an award from R.W. Brown. It was similar to the award I won in elementary school, first grade, for being a good behaved student. I got an award from R.W. Brown, I believe twice, for camper of the year, just for my behavior. They gave me that award. At my mom's house, I don't know if she still has those trophies. Maybe, maybe not. But I think my brother got one too. But I got that award. And, you know, one thing that I'm glad, let me just tell you this story. So at R.W. Brown, this time, I'm going to just tell you this few things. So one, I did get into a fight there. I got into 2 fights. I did hit a girl who, because I didn't know how to control myself very much. I did like smack a girl on her back really hard, named Nakaya. And a lot of people weren't cool. They weren't okay with me doing that. And I did get into a fight with this kid named David. But we just kicked each other. But we weren't like sent home. We weren't suspended from camp. We just got into like a fight. But we wound up being cool for the rest of the year. I'm just thinking back, man. A lot of them people today, I don't know where they how life is treating them now, but I hope they I just hope they're all right, man. I got into a fight, but this is what I want to tell you. So you may not know this, but I probably could have been a child actor, because there was a drama class that I took. It was like towards the end of the day. So these are the classes I remember. We had computer lab, gym, science. We had a class on dance. This is when Michael Jackson, we would do a dance class, and they would always play Michael Jackson songs like Beat It, Wanna Be Starting Something. And so it was Beat It, Wanna Be Starting Something, Usher's Yeah, that song Yeah, and Called Up. And the lady's instructor's name was Miss Miranda. And we just followed her. But the thing was, they were doing budget cuts at the time. So I remember she was let go because of just, they weren't paying anybody for these activities. They didn't have enough money, I guess. And then we had Mr. Kevin. He was a drama coach. Mr. Kevin, I'm not talking shit. Mr. Kevin looked like Nate Dogg. Looking back, he looked like a mixture of Nate Dogg and Charles S. Dutton. So Mr. Kevin was he was a drama teacher. And I was a great performer. I was always like someone that liked to get attention. So I was acting out a lot in that class. And that caught the attention of Mr. Kevin. One day, I was improvising just some stupid shit with the girl Nakaya. I was talking about how I was JFK. I was just making shit up. I was just saying how I just remember I was saying. I was pretending that I was Arsenio Hall. I didn't know who Arsenio was at the time, but I was like, hey, Jessica Simpson, how you doing? So I want to know how you feel about your new movie I, Robot. That was a movie that came out at the time. I was like, how do you feel about your movie I, Robot coming in theaters next week? How do you feel about starring in that new movie with Will Smith? And I was just saying like stupid shit in class. So one day, Mr. Kevin came in the bathroom, and he pulled me to the side. He's like, Justin, I want you to be in The Wiz. And I wanted to be in it so bad, but this is reason why I couldn't do The Wiz. My mom had to work. My mom had a job at a nursing home at the time. She had a job at a nursing home, and she got off of work. She had to catch the bus to pick me up so she called the 47 to my camp to pick me up, take me home. We would get home 6 o'clock. I don't think she would have the time to wait for me because practice would end at 6. I don't think with her job and her being tired, and I'm gonna just say it, I had a stereotypical angry black female mother. You know, she would yell, she would she wouldn't curse much, but she was very angry. And I understand she was that way because of my dad's divorce and how the marriage ended. But it was not, I just knew it wouldn't fly. It's not something that she would have the time to do. Understand, my dad worked late too. He didn't work in the morning time. So I don't think I was just thinking like maybe I could ask somebody who could pick me up, but I just knew it wouldn't really fly. Even my dad's girlfriend, I wouldn't ask her, "Hey, can you pick me up so I could do drama?" But I just always thought over the years, had I done that play, what could it have led to? Could I have maybe go into a school for like performing arts and got into acting? But then again, looking at the industry and how actors, how dirty that business is, I'm glad. I feel like I dodged a bullet there, but I really would have. That's something that I really would have take a lot of pride in doing. But I did not act in the play. And on the second or first day of school, 4th grade, because a lot of people that went to R.W. Brown, they were students at my school. And I saw them like understand, Cecil B. Moore is where the camp was. It wasn't very far from my school. So there are kids at my school who went there, and because the camp would pick up kids from my school, and they had like a little after school program there. So I think the guy, his name was Mr. Jeff, he was picking up people from the camp, from like our school to the camp. And he was even saying that they had to play today that I was supposed to be in. But I didn't go because I just felt like my mom wouldn't sacrifice just waiting for me to like, you know, be done practice. There were some girls I liked at that camp. They're looking back, like the girl that I hit, I liked her a little bit. There were a few girls. I think the other girl, I'm trying to think of her name. So Nakaya, and I really don't remember the other girl's name. I don't remember her name. But the girl Jessica that liked me, I wish I probably. See, this sounds really fucked up, but why is it that when you get older, you find attraction of the girls that like you when you were younger? That sound as pedophilic as that sounds. Why is it the older you get, the more you wish you would have acted on that that attraction that person had of you, but you didn't like them when you were younger? I do not understand that at all. Just about every girl who liked me and I didn't like them back, I liked them. I don't want to really go more. I don't really want to go into that. But I don't know what it is, man. I don't. But 4th grade came, and this time I have a new teacher. His name is Mr. Green. And Mr. Green was a white guy who was from Philadelphia. He was our new teacher, and I never had a white male teacher. And let me tell you, this is when the bullying starts, because it's very clear I'm not the same as everybody else. So this is when hell begins. This is the fall of 2004. And some of the games that we receive, we get True Crime Streets of LA, Madden 2005. We got we start getting more games I don't remember when we got this game. I think that's also when we got Grand Theft Auto 3, or maybe that was a year later. But we got more games, and I used to suck my thumb, and I think when I sucked my thumb so much, I broke my controller. So eventually, I got another controller because it stopped. It didn't really work correctly because all this drool would go inside my controller. As disgusting as that sounds. Some of the books I liked as a kid, I couldn't really draw like I wanted to, but I love Captain Underpants books. A lot of kids in my class read those books. I loved a lot of I love The Simpsons, because around this time, see, we were alternating back and forth from our dads to our moms. So we weren't really watching The Simpsons like that. We weren't really watching it because when we would get home, my dad worked late night, so he would take us on the bus, right? He would take us on the bus from we didn't really get away with this too much, but he would drive us from South Philly, 20th and Johnson, where the job was, all the way to Fern Rock Transportation Center. Well, he would drive to Fern Rock, and he would drop us off on Shellingham Avenue. And we would get home. See, the bus would depart around 6:05. We would get home like 6:15. So we weren't really watching The Simpsons because we would miss most of the show when we get inside. When we sit down, it's like 6:20, and we missed most of the show. So we weren't really watching The Simpsons. But when we were being taken home by our mom, when 6 o'clock came or 5:59, we were running that fucking room and had The Simpsons on. Sometimes the box would already be on channel 15. And this is when we had cable boxes. And also, this is when wrestling is starting to suck. I don't remember watching Raw and SmackDown every day. So around the end of that year, wrestling started to suck. I don't know what it was, but definitely when the year turned around, when 2005 came, wrestling was just garbage. Everything about it. It wasn't the same as it once was. Now, I would still watch Raw when it would be Monday night, I would watch it, but it was never how good it was like in the early 2000s. This is the mid 2000s now. See, this is the Ruthless Aggression era, and it's not as great as it was during like the beginning of the Ruthless Aggression era. Those were like the best times. That was the peak of it. Now it's just like the shitty part of the Ruthless Aggression era. For Christmas, by the way, too. So, I'm all over the place with video. So, I want to tell you that around this year, so I started getting bullied in school. This bastard kid, Ernie, who knew like karate, I was getting fucked with by everybody in that class. This kid Keith was bullying me. This kid Ernie was bullying me. This kid Sharon Samuels was bullying me. There was so many people fucking with me in that class. So yeah, so I was getting messed with by everybody in there because of just my like eccentric personality and just the person I was, who I was. Everybody, would laugh at me, call me stupid, call me dumb. But I would try to fight back. But whenever I would fight back, I would always get told on by Ernie. But my dad would say the teacher is telling me you're doing these things. So let me tell you something that really fucked me up. That I just look back on and just question the objective of all this stuff. So I was getting messed with by everybody in that class. So my first day, I believe I got into a fight with this kid, Naeem. I got him in the headlock one day. The teacher broke up the fight, and it wasn't a big deal. But I mean, I was fighting everybody in that class. See, the thing about me was I was getting bullied, but I knew how to wrestle. I would always like imitate what I saw in wrestling. I wrestled with my brother, fought with my brother. So whatever I saw on TV, I would just do on other people. I did like headlocks. I learned that from WrestleMania 2000. I would pick people that were smaller than me. I would pick them up. I wouldn't like slam them on the ground, but I always like imitate moves that I saw like on wrestling. That was just my confidence I had of fighting. Let me tell you something. If karate was popular in my time, I'd probably do like a fucking, like on Karate Kid when he kicked that fucking blind kid in the face during like the end of that tournament. I would have did that shit on Naeem. Or if I was a big fan of Bruce Lee, I probably would go to jail if I was a fan of Bruce Lee. But I was fighting everybody in that class, man. And it was becoming stressful when I'm fighting people and I can't really do much back, because every time I fight back, I get in trouble. I get sent down to the office. Whenever I was fighting back, like I said, my excuse me, this kid Ernie would always tell my dad on me. When I would fight back, you know, my dad would find out, and this is when I start getting like nervous. I don't want to get in trouble. He takes me to the house that my aunt and my cousin live in now. The bitch that was always rude to me, the one with epilepsy. She I'm sorry for using that word, but that's what she is. The house that they live in now, that was the house my dad grew up in. He took me to that house because he thought I was acting up in class, and he beat me for like a good 3-4 minutes with his belt. Now, what I don't agree with that is, for one, when I mentored those kids that I was trying to help, a few things I never did, and I'll look you in the camera saying this. I never raised my voice at them. I never put my hands on them, of course. Then I would have went to jail. And I was never rude towards them. I would explain to them why you don't do certain things. When I took them to the ice cream shop the first time, and they were throwing like those little rocks you throw on the floor that make those cracking sounds, when they were throwing those rocks at people, I was explaining to them, this is why you don't do that. If you don't explain to child things, they're not going to understand. When you just beat them and you show like violence towards them, that doesn't do anything. Now, there was a time when my dad was abusive. I will talk about that a little later, but he did that to me, and I always look back. I just say, why would a grown man? I can see disciplining your kids, like disciplining them where you can punish them. Why would a grown man put his hands on someone smaller than him? What are you getting out of doing something like that? That shows how weak you are. Because looking back, if I told you, I don't want no relationship with him at all. He's 100% dead to me at this point, like for good. But I told you the horrors of what goes on in these nursing homes. And looking back, I'm just thinking now, the people that suffer the most abuse in these nursing homes, is this their karma for the parents that they were to their kids? Because it's no reason why. It's those nursing homes, most of them are fucked up. But it's a reason why a lot of them go through the stuff that they do. Because I question the kind of parents they were if their kids send them somewhere like this. But he did that. It wasn't more than 3 times. I know it was 2-3 times. One time he forgot his belt, and I remember specifically he said, "Damn, I didn't bring my belt today." I remember he said that specifically. And that's when I began to view him in a different light. Because, see, this is when my emasculation begins. Because whenever you yell at a child around a female that's not his mother, that emasculates. That really weakens a child, especially a young black boy. It weakens, like it did to me. It weakened me a lot. And I'm gonna be real like explicit in this video, because it's a lot of stuff y'all don't know about me. I'm gonna just reveal. But this is when like I said, he did that 3 times, and I was so scared to like fight back in school. I was just taking it a lot by people. Like, I'm getting beat by my dad for no real reason. The teacher is telling him I'm being bad, but these kids are whooping my ass in school. And I remember this one day specifically. It was a Friday. This is when this movie Shark Tale was coming out in theaters. Look up when Shark Tale happened. Whenever Shark Tale was in theaters and Burger King had those toys for Shark Tale, this is when this happened. So my dad, this one day, my brother got suspended. I don't know what he did, but he got suspended. People in that class were fucking me up all day. Everybody was just whooping on me. The little kid Nathan that died, he punched me in the eye. Or I remember I slapped him. I punched him in the back or something. He punched me in the eye. Keith was sitting next to me, and he'll just start smacking on me, beating on me. And I'm kind of laughing because I get revenge. Don't think it's just me. It's just I'm getting beaten and nothing. I ain't gonna get no revenge. I get revenge. So Keith is beating on me. Ernie's beating on me. Saran is beating on me. Everybody's just whooping on me. But mostly those 5 I just named: Saran, Keith, Ernie, Nathan, sometimes George. Anthony chased me around. I don't know why I think he just joined in because he saw everybody else doing it. But everybody, oh yeah, and William was fucking with me too. We fought a few times. We fought we fought in class and we got sent down to the office. But everybody just messed with me that day, and my dad's thinking that I'm just acting up in class. That's not what's going on. So my mom thinks that we're being bad. She takes away the cable from us for the whole weekend. That really sucked, because we didn't do anything wrong. It's the kids that are fucking with us. So we have no cable for the whole week. Not that she didn't pay the bill. She just wants to punish us. So she takes away the box. We have no cable box at all. We can't watch TV. So my brother and me, we just talk in the room. We play like baseball with his binder and like a little tennis ball. And we were just talking, and he had to read this book called Bud Not Buddy. Strange enough, I read that book. I found it at this laundromat. I think, or no, maybe it was at another job, but I found it somewhere, and I happened to read that book. It's like a little great. It's a little book for teenagers, but I read it myself. And he had to read that in 6th grade. But I remember he had to read that book, and I was just telling him like what was going on with me. Now, I don't know how. I know for a fact he went to my dad's, because he was suspended on Monday. He got suspended on Monday, probably for fighting this kid John. Now, this kid John that he was fighting, they wound up eventually being friends. But he comes later on. But John, his thing about John was, he would call John homeless because they said they found like he had like a corn chip in his hair. They would say John lived in like a box on wheels and he lived in a dumpster. I don't know if he was homeless or not, but a lot of these badass kids that were from public school, they were coming to our Catholic school fucking shit up. So my brother came, he escorted me to school. He came to me to school while he was suspended on his day off. And the kid Keith that was fucking with me, that was bothering me, see, he was kicked out of when the doors of the school were open, we had this thing. We were allowed to eat breakfast at school, right? You had like the choice of eating breakfast, right? They had like free breakfast there. Well, it wasn't free. I guess your tuition covered it. Well, like I said, Keith got kicked out of he wasn't allowed inside the building before 7:30. He had to stand outside. He was kicked out. So who's outside while talking to George when they did all that shit to me? Keith is outside. And my brother and me see him outside. And the first thing that he says to me, that's my friend right there. That's my friend. And he is so fucking nervous because I know I sound like I'm a real bitch for doing this for some people. But yeah, I got my big brother. We ready to like just get revenge back. And we corner him and and I remember the first thing I did, because my brother was there. It's like, what you gonna do? My brother's here, motherfucker. So the first thing I do, I slap him upside his head like one time. And he got real mad. And then he couldn't do nothing back because my brother is right there. It's like, what you gonna do, man? So my brother just stood there. Imagine like Suge Knight. When Suge Knight, sorry. It's like when Suge Knight was trying to get Eazy-E to sign those death row papers. You know that movie, the Straight Outta Compton? It's like when I was like Suge Knight and my brother was like his goons, and if he tried to do something, my brother was just gonna whoop his ass. But I smacked him. I got a few hits in. I slapped him inside the head, and then I punched him in the stomach like one time, and he got real mad. He didn't do nothing back. And my brother just like, he waited till I got in the building. He walked away and left. And then, man, I go downstairs, just use the bathroom. I kind of linger around downstairs in the bathroom for a little bit. I feel so good what I just did. I come upstairs, man. All I hear is, yo, Justin and his brother jumped Keith. Justin and his brother jumped Keith. And I'm coming upstairs. Everybody's talking about it. The kid Keith is like, man, I'ma steal his ass. I'ma steal him. They jumped me. George saw everything. I come upstairs and I denied knowing what happened. But everybody was like, you and your brother jumped Keith. And that day on, a lot of the bullying just stopped. It all stopped because this is before parents were allowed to intervene with kids. My dad came up to school that day to pick me up, and he just set Keith aside and he had to talk with him. And when he talked to him, everything just stopped, man. We weren't like friends, but the bullying stopped when my dad intervened. He just got us to just stop fighting. We just made peace. And I want to just end it there. This is the teacher, by the way, the teacher the white guy, Mr. Green, I guess he couldn't really work trying to educate a bunch of black kids. So one day he threw a piece of chalk at Keith and he missed his head. And that's why he didn't get fired, but they removed him from teaching that class. And looking back, we were like a bunch of fucking animals. I ain't gonna lie. Even me. I wasn't mean to him, but I could tell he could not teach a bunch of inner city African American kids. But that's that part. That's towards the end of 04. That's it's a lot. It's like another part to it I may do.